Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to the village board meeting, 7 o'clock, Monday, April 10th, 2023. Roll call of officers. Open meeting law compliance check. We all please stand for a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have any public input? Not, we'll move on to Belgium Area Chamber of Commerce report.
So just a few things today. Living Shoe is coming up. That is Saturday, April 29th at Secret Farms. And we are down to 30 tickets, somewhere around there. So if you still are hoping to go, I'd suggest getting tickets soon. You can still get them at Port Washington State Bank in Belgium and online. Should be a fun night. Lots of new vendors, lots of familiar faces, and lots of fun. Other things for this summer that the tourism committee and the chamber have been kind of working on is Summer Nights Live, and that will be June 2nd and July 21st, both Friday nights again. The first one is on the last day of school, and there will be a cornhole tournament, music by Soupy and the Detonators, food by Mel's Charities, and the Legion will be providing the bar for us that evening. And the second one is going to have music by Random Max. It will be our restaurant night, so you can get local restaurants that evening, and the chambers manage the bar that night. So, let's see, anything else? And then the last thing is Flash Pet Sunday is coming back this year. So that's going to be on Sunday, July 16th from 2 to 4 p.m. We'll have free ice cream for everybody and lots of games and fun stuff for families to do. So, any questions? Pray for good weather. Yes, please pray for good. That is kind of important. Although the kids don't seem to care. Any questions or? All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Move on to village marshal report.
Okay, for March, it wasn't too bad, but 60 parking tickets issued. And I split 2 weeks earlier with the parking because City of Fort canceled theirs, Cedarburg canceled theirs. So I talked to Pete, we canceled ours too. And there were no dumpster violations during the month. And I did not receive one phone call for the whole month. So it was pretty good.
Did you have your phone on? I don't know, seemed like it would.
You changed your phone number?
That's my committee.
Any other questions for Leon?
You could just give an update on that.
Sure.
Just a little quick update on the park. We're wrapping things up. Bathrooms and plumbers will be finished up either this week or early part next week. And windows go in today. The cushion finished up last week, Wednesday. Yeah, and then I think Donnie Miller will be finishing up in the next 2 weeks. And hopefully we'll get some concrete poured by then. So moving on. Any questions? And I got a picture up there. That's the picture of the concession stand. We had our floors done 2 weeks ago on a Thursday, so walk-in coolers installed, so moving.
Okay, anything else?
Well, we can talk about the ribbon cutting or bring that up later, or
Doesn't matter.
Well, actually, I mean, the Park and Rec Committee will start discussion at that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, then we'll move on to the consent agenda items. I'll make a motion, we approve numbers 8A and 8B. Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. There's no unfinished business. We'll go to new business, 10A, review and approve quote from Digicorp for upgrade for internet network support protection for service for Village Garage Recycle Center.
So the village. And they give us two options. Option one is just a 1 year at a time. And it would be $995 per year, and that is for the hardware plus the support guard record. The other option is a 3-year plan, which provides a small savings, a couple $100. And then also just the one-time professional services at the bottom of 1,500 for installation. It's something we have to have. It's not budgeted though for this year because it was kind of.
Well, okay, so we did budget bill for the normal ordinance fee, which is something we've paid every year, and that was like $454. So the new fee per year is going to 5 once. It's a minor increase on that, but we do have to purchase the new equipment, which is basically $1,000. It's $995, and we have to pay for the install and setup of $1,500. Now, if we prepay for the next 2 years, we will save about $200 on the fees for the next 2 years. So, I mean, it would be my recommendation that we go with the option and just prepay for the 3 years, save ourselves a little bit of money.
We can get that out this year yet?
It has to be done. Our contract on this existing, the end of service is like in May. So we have to.
May 8th, it looks like it says.
It's just a matter of, is it really prepaying to save, so we're paying $800 basically this year that we won't have to pay for the next 2 years. I mean, it's something we're gonna pay anyway. We may as well prepay it and save that.
And we have the money to do it, so you might as well.
I'll make a motion that we do the 2-year with Digicorp for the upgrade internet network.
3 year option.
3 years, option 2, thank you.
I'll stuck it.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 10B, approved joint power agreement between Ozaki County Sheriff's Office and the village.
This is a requirement, it is state statutes.
That's basically in a nutshell, it's a simple service agreement. It is required by statute, although it's clearly stated, wasn't done for the development last couple of years, but something that needs to be agreed upon, and that covers the services. It's also, I think, dated for April 1st, so you're kind of proving it,
After.
retroactive.
I make a motion that we retroactively approve our joint powers agreement between Ozaki County Sheriff's Office and the village.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 10C, approve village's compliance assurance plan, a requirement for an effective recycling program per NR 544.04 Wisconsin Administration Code.
So this is, has to do with our annual recycling grant. requirement. This has been a requirement. since 2000. And But information. And verify. This is based on their template, the DNR. The only thing is example 4 and 5 involves waste management to provide some to monitor the collection at curbside. And I did seek out, I contacted Waste Management and they said that they would not be able to agree to that. It's not a major item. I did, I provided this example to the DNR without example 4 and 5, and they said what I have in place was just fine. But maybe, so for now, this needs approval so that I can submit my grant for this year. So my suggestion is that it's approved without example 4 and 5. And if our Public Works Committee wants to discuss this further, that could go to committee level as far as how to take care of curbside violations. The village would want to do that.
I'll make a motion to approve village compliance assurance plan minus examples 4 and 5.
Motions are made and seconded. Any other discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 10D. Discuss and approve project upgrades for community park shelter project, concrete and or blacktop area around concession stand and shelter. Danny?
Okay, we got 2 bids for getting hard surface around the shelter and the concession stand and bathroom. And the rest of it would get blacktop. So I presented you a spreadsheet out there. So the county bid came in for $39,000. But that doesn't include the following items with the concrete. We would need to do on the south side of the shelter. So then I talked to Brian, the guy who was pouring the concrete. I said, why don't you give us a cost figure and everything? So then he measured everything up, where the county was a new blacktop or what the whole concrete would cost. So if you look at the bottom line, I mean, the concrete is a little more expensive, maybe by, what is that, maybe $900. But new concrete, you never have to resurface it, right,
Right.
which costs about $4,500 every other year.
Yeah,
So in 1 year, we would have that, 2 years, we would have that recouped, that we wouldn't have to.
right.
And concrete lasts a lot longer than asphalt. I mean, if you look at our existing asphalt down there, it's all alligator, it's cracked. It needs to be resurfaced, so.
Right.
And I talked to Vicky, how, if we can afford it, with, with our project going on here, and she had got some numbers for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so I included this in the, book, but I'll just review it all with you. So this is basically as of currently what our original estimated cost was, what we've spent so far, some pending expenses, and what we expect the total final to be. And this is taken into consideration the impact fees that we are applying toward it and the donations we have received so far. Now, there are organizations that we do expect will be providing some additional donations. We don't know for sure amounts, but And this is, I feel, a very conservative final estimate. We know that there should be some, we may receive credits on some of like the construction for work that the DPW did. So this is not taking any of that into consideration. So I assume the number is going to be lower than this. But if you add the concrete to it, our total comes to $607,000 some dollars. So I plugged that into our spreadsheet that we use for our capital projects. And I just wanted to kind of explain to you guys how this works. So up here at the top, we have for the next 20 years, all of our expected capital projects, when they're due and how much comes from each fund. So the total that we are going to need in the next 20 years for general fund right now is about $2.8 million. So the goal is that we save enough each year that we have that money when it's needed. So if you look down below at the different years that I have broken out, how this formula works is that it sees what we need to save each year. My goal in this is that we not really have that number increase significantly, because this is how much our budget currently can afford to spend each year. So we know our levy limit isn't going to keep going up, so we can't increase this amount a lot. My estimate is that at the end of 23, if we were to spend that full 607 some thousand, we're going to be down to about $166,000 in our fund. We will be able to meet all of our upcoming obligations for the next 10 years at least with no problem, with one exception. The fire department, we have in our budget, according to their capital plan, 3 pumpers that are a total of $720,000. One of them is due to on their schedule for 2035 or 2032. We would not be able to pay that in 2032. We would need to push that out till 2035. With all the changes happening in EMS right now, I wouldn't bet on the fact that any of these pumpers are going to be bought according to that schedule, but we don't know that, but you guys would have to approve that. So if you approve this, just know we would have to push off at least one of those pumpers by 3 years, according to our capital plan, unless of course we get a bunch of donations or things come in under budget, So I just want to assure you that according to the math, we can make our obligations for the next 10 years with no issues. And after that, the amount we need to save goes down. So.
Well, I think, we don't want to be pound wise and penny foolish and end up having to spend more in the long run to get, to keep redoing blacktop. So,
Well, and not to mention, we have a beautiful new shelter, beautiful new, concession stand. If we can make this all good now, I think, and from a finance standpoint, I see no issues with it. Our capital fund is going to be a lot lower at the end of this year, but we can afford it and still meet our obligations.
I agree.
okay, well, I make the motion then that we accept the Beekler concrete bid that would concrete the whole area.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any other discussion on this? Not all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll move on to 10E. Approve submitted invoice for County Park Project, Beekler Construction invoice number 2904, amount of $25,000.
I make a motion to approve the submitted invoice for the community park project, invoice number 2904 in the amount of $25,000.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any other questions on this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Now, Rosie, I have